And I've had a long-standing religious exemption to vaccines, which was accepted for the entirety of my higher education of 5 years through Earlham College. So I came into a really difficult situation when my school put out a notice requiring all graduates and their family members to show proof of COVID vaccination to attend graduation for my master's degree. And so I kindly reminded them of my longstanding religious exemption. And I received an email back pretty quickly saying that, oh, we're not accepting that for this round. So I emailed them back and said, under Indiana code 21456, I'm entitled to a religious exemption. And I'm wondering what law allows Earlham College to override Indiana state law. And if there is such a law, it's in violation of my right to religious freedom underneath the United States Constitution. And once I sent that email, I didn't get a reply back. And so I contacted the representatives in Indiana. And so the Attorney General's office there had recommended I contact the Indiana Commissioner for Higher Education and the Indiana Commissioner for Civil Rights. And so they both did their own investigations, and finally Earlham College, answered the Indiana Commissioner for Higher Education saying, okay, Caitlin and her family will be able to attend graduation without having to show proof of vaccination, which was just really great. It was really wonderful, that the school, changed their policy. I really push them into, answering like, well, what law allows you to require this? What law allows you to not accept my religious exemption that has been accepted for 5 years of me being a student at your institution? So I was really happy. I was really stressed out in that time, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And how will I be able to attend graduation? And, graduation is a big moment in people's lives, whether it's, a high school graduation or bachelor's or master's degree. So I wanted to be there and to celebrate with my family. So that was really great. And then, Earlham College changed their website, saying that they weren't requiring it for anybody. So it wasn't just me that the policy was changed for, it was for all graduates and their families. So that was really amazing. It was very monumental. And so, unfortunately, the next day after Earlham College changed their policy affirming my rights, I was harassed and threatened. My character and reputation were defamed by members of my institution, my peers, my professors, my academic advisor, as well as the president of Earlham College, Ann Houtman. And so basically on platforms with thousands of people that were associated with Earlham College, whether they were alumni or students or professors, staff, my name was plastered on these platforms, basically saying that I was an anti-vaccine activist, that I was dabbling in right-wing propaganda. And then the threats and the defamation of character just kind of exploded at that point. People were saying that I was an anti-Semite, that I believed Jews ruled the world, and that I thought COVID was a hoax, which were all completely false statements. I've never in my life spoke out about having a religious exemption or spoke out about, my personal and religious beliefs against vaccination until, I was kind of forced and put in this position. And I'm a deeply religious person. That's why I studied at Earlham College and Earlham School of Religion, which are both Quaker institutions. And so, I led interfaith communities to support religious people across our country that were attacked back in 2018 and 2019. So calling me an anti-Semite was really horrific and completely against what I stand for. As somebody who has deeply, religious and spiritual values of protecting, all people regardless of religion, which I was being attacked against on my own religious beliefs. So it was really horrific what I had experienced. So then, after that happened, I contacted, or actually, my professor found out. He was on email threads because I was getting 50 emails a week at this point of just horrific messages saying I had no integrity, I had no moral character, and I had to explain myself. People were saying that you need to explain yourself in a public forum, on a public platform, and explain yourself to our community. And so my professor emailed me and said, okay, now that this is all out in the open, our class, which was supposed to be in person, is now going to be all online. So I had a 2-week class in May that was going to be in person with my academic advisor. He changed that to being online.
And this was 2020, right? Excuse me. This just to get a reference here.
So it was just in this past April that I received a notice from the school requiring proof of vaccination. And then, everything was just happening so quickly. And then in May, I had an in-person class, because everything's been online this past year. So our class was going to be in person right prior to graduation. And that class was changed to being all online now. And then the same professor, my academic advisor, emailed me the same day saying, I'm requesting that you don't come to graduation. And in fact, I will reimburse you. I will pay you money for any money that you put out to come to Indiana, because I'm from New York. So whether that was airfare or housing or travel costs, anything like that, he would pay me that money back to not attend the graduation of my master's degree. And so I did go to graduation. I went to, Earlham has 2 ceremonies. So before graduation ceremony, there's a ceremony the night before. It's like a worship ceremony. So I went to the worship ceremony, and everyone I was unhappy that I went to the ceremony, that I went to Earlham. And so I basically emailed the president of Earlham School of Religion and Earlham College, requesting that she denounce the defamatory statements that were made about me, requesting that she would remove them and provide me with security at graduation, because I was being harassed by people I never knew, I never talked to in my life. I did not know who these people were. They were just affiliated with Earlham College. And she replied in an email with one word saying LOL, and then just signed her name, laugh out loud, and just signed her name, President Ann Houtman, Earlham College, Earlham School of Religion. And so I knew at that point, I felt very unsafe going to graduation. I was concerned for not only the safety of myself, but of my family, to travel to Indiana to attend a ceremony that should be full of joy and happiness and accomplishment. And so it was really just horrific what I went through. And, I realized, I studied peace and social transformation, and I realized how much hatred really exists in the world. I learned what pure evil is. The professor that removed me from the class, or basically, told me that now the class is going to be online. He then went on and sent me an email saying, you went to graduation when I told you not to come. And now I have to consider whether or not I should contact Boston University and retract a letter of recommendation that I wrote for you. So I just accepted a full tuition scholarship to go to Boston University to study divinity. And my professor, my academic advisor, had wrote a letter of recommendation on my behalf for this program. And, he was threatening my academic career, my professional career in the future. I'm not sure if he's contacted Boston University at this point. But then I was removed from a class. My last requirement for my degree was a summer class. I was removed from that class by this same professor, and I was required to complete the requirements from my degree independently. I was removed from all conversations with my peers in class discussions. So I was really shunned just because I have a religious belief, just because I choose not to participate in a medical procedure, because I choose to have autonomy over my own body, because I choose not to, submit to whatever medical decisions that an institution is putting out. So I think it's really crazy, the division that we're seeing in our nation right now, of full of hatred just because you believe something different than me. And that's not what the founding of our nation, what our nation was founded on. It was on the belief that you can believe in whatever you choose to believe in, and we accept that here. And so it was definitely not only un-American what happened to me, but it was not Quakerly whatsoever. Quaker principles. I'm not sure if the viewers here right now know a lot about Quakerism, but there's 6 principles within the Quaker tradition, the Quaker values. There are simplicity, peace, integrity, equality, stewardship, and community. And that's why I went there. I never thought that in a million years I would be harassed, threatened, my character and reputation defamed for my own religious beliefs and values.